What is up, everybody? It is Ross of the Oracle at Motion here with another weekly reading for you. This is the last week of March here, and it's the last week that we're going to have to deal with Seven of Arrows insecurities. One of the runes that came up this time is Solio. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize. But its concept is wholeness and success. So to me, that kind of indicates that if we've gone through this whole process of confronting our insecurities and becoming vulnerable this month, there's going to be this sense of wholeness if we were successful in all of that. And it is also the rune of guidance, goal setting, and success. Some other concepts in this, in regards to Psi, it would be central nervous system, seat of the soul. So that's kind of like third eye or pineal gland. Revelation, wholeness in regards to energy. It is the sun wheel, strengthening the chakras, cosmic energies, motivation, life-giving force, action. In regard to mundane, it's sunlight, fire, meeting of goals, confidence, taking action. And in regards to divinations, it is guidance, hope, success, goals, honor, life purpose, faith and outcome. And then some final things that, this is all from runesecrets.com, by the way. Some final things that rune governs is transmutation of thought into energy for action, activating highest values, strengthening of psychic centers or chakras, increase in spiritual will and optimal health, guidance through pathways, quote-unquote enlightenment, victory and success through individual will. So to me, this rune kind of really ties in with everything and says, if you've confronted your insecurities, there's going to be this level of success. Now, jumping to our Tao Oracle card, it is the Taming Power of the Small. And it says self-discipline, which is definitely needed to overcome insecurities. Concentration, strengthen your character from within, self-awareness, and realizing potential. And it's interesting how that came up because it kind of talks about getting to really know yourself on an intimate level. And when you begin to recognize that insecurities are actually a form of self-centeredness and kind of self-obsession, you can begin to apply discipline and strengthen your character to overcome it. That's something that I've had to do in a large way. And to be honest, it's something that still comes up at times. But I also have evidence from the past couple of years of my life that support that I can make it through. We have two Rumi Oracle cards this week because one was kind of piggybacking on the other one, unbeknownst to me, so I decided to put them both in. One says, support patiently the disagreements inflicted by ignorant men. And it's interesting how that kind of ties into insecurity. So when we begin to become confident in ourselves, other people can have differences of opinion and think differently of us than ourselves, and we can be okay with that. I've heard a quote saying, don't be swayed by anything good or bad that anybody ever says about you. And to me, that speaks to knowing yourself. And in regards to wholeness, it's kind of having this deep understanding of you and accepting yourself for who you are. If you know you and you know your shortcomings and you know your assets and you've embraced all of them, there's nothing that anybody can say about you that can really disturb you. Now, in getting that comfortable with yourself, you risk becoming egotistical and unaware of connecting with stuff. But there's also this natural process of being humiliated if you don't stay humble with it. The next card that comes up is your soul was a snake, but is now a fish. It leaps in the spring of immortal life. So to me, that kind of speaks of wisdom, and then wisdom to transfer to be able to move through your emotions, because serpents are symbols of wisdom. Fish can be tied to like being able to navigate emotions because water is the symbol of emotions. So to me, when you kind of have knowledge of self, you can transform and be able to feel your emotions and not be overcome by them, which ties in directly to insecurity. And now let's see what the last couple tarot cards are for this month. And the first one we get, King of Bows. So there's this kind of yellow there. Yellow is relative to your sense of self. There's also this division of two aspects. To me, this kind of talks about if we don't know who we really are, like consider that division the insecurity. We're missing out on the totality of who we are, but when we can begin to tap into our sense of self, we become this unified figure that's greater than the sum of our parts. And you can tap into that in a big way, simply by becoming humble and dealing with insecurities. In regards to the taming power of the great, if you're on this quest for personal knowledge, the path of knowledge, the way of the warrior, as Carlos Castaneda has put it, or the path of the warrior, this is all about humility, and it's about kind of having these external forces in your life really begin to grind you down and remove any kind of obstruction or impurities, and then presenting you in a way to where you can kind of be this figure that's up in the clouds. So bow is the bow in regards to bow and arrow is kind of the attitude of what we want. It's like the actions and everything that we're creating. The arrow in that card really is kind of the intention. So with the proper actions, we can aim our intention, and if the actions and all that stuff is properly placed with the intentions, we can kind of hit the mark of what we want. And getting over insecurity is a big part of that, because insecurity can kind of cause your actions and intentions to be weakened, and also to go off mark. The next card that comes up is the Lover's card. So to me, this really speaks about kind of having that alchemical wedding. And when we begin to overcome insecurity and really become intimate with ourselves on a deep level, I want to say it was last week or the week prior to that even, I was talking about the masculine and feminine energies. This card to me really speaks of kind of that alchemical wedding of uniting the masculine and feminine energies. And again, there's this concept in this Lover's card of these two separate parts coming together and being a greater whole. Like on the first card, they're separate. On this one, they're together. But in both cards, there's this greater figure above them. Both of them have yellow in them too. The Lover's card has this character with this yellow headdress. So that's like knowledge of self is how I would take it. So through this whole month, if we've been navigating through our insecurities and going through this alchemical wedding, we should be having this strong sense of self. Like there should have been a big psychic shift for us. And this is even intensified more so with Mercury retrograde in regards to kind of having this conversation with ourselves and shutting off a lot of the external chatter and focusing on us, if we've kind of learned to navigate the cycles of life better. And then the last card for this month is Death. This is the dance of death. So death isn't about dying, obviously. Anybody who's been around tarot for a little bit should know that. If you're new to tarot, death is about transformation. It's about going from one phase to the next. So now that we've kind of opened ourselves up to our insecurities, faced our insecurities head on, part of us has passed in the sense that we're moving forward in a new way. And it goes into the you were once a snake, now you are a fish. You're becoming something different. And it's not a bad thing, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to be exposed to some of these lessons again. It means now you're going to have different experiences and different insight that you can apply as you move forward. Overall, this has been a really, really productive month if you've been up to the task of doing the work. And say that you got your ass kicked by insecurity this month, it's okay. There's still lessons to be learned if you want to go back through and kind of have some reflection and sift through it. There's still some nuggets of wisdom to be gleaned from all of this, and you can apply it in your life going forward. Here's the thing. Any lesson that we don't learn, although there's optimal times to learn it, any lesson we don't learn is still there to learn, and sometimes we're not supposed to learn all the lessons. all of us are at different phases of this journey, and all of us will be at different phases of understanding, and not all of us are supposed to learn all of the same lessons within the same lifetime even. So give yourself a break. For one, don't be insecure about not overcoming insecurity. Give yourself a break. Recognize that there is still some kind of transformation, and sometimes even backwards progress can be forwards progress if we're paying attention. And with that, love and light, peace, people.